Please play Eva.
Lightweight, powerful, and shapely, the RX-7 is a driver's car that's also a treat for the eyes. The world's only Wankel-powered sports car boasts 255 horsepower and a curb weight of just 2,850 pounds, making it the lightest of the group. This power-to-weight ratio generates forceful acceleration and an extremely wheel hop off the line hinders drag strip starts, but once underway, the RX-7 is explosively fast. The transition from primary to secondary turbo operation is hardly noticeable. Handling is extremely responsive, and with 0.94 G of lateral grip and only slight body roll, the RX-7 is second only to the Viper in its race car-like feel. Stopping is equally impressive, with 11 At the RX-7's heart is a two-rotor, 255 horsepower Wankel engine, fortified by a twin turbocharger system that transitions from primary to secondary turbo at about 4,500 RPM. The RX-7's unit body is of steel, with an aluminum hood and minimized glass area for weight reduction. Further use of aluminum is found in the links of the RX-7's four-wheel independent suspension to lower unsprung weight for improved handling. Mazda's introduction of the RX-7 in 1978 was thought by many to be the most significant new sports car since the Datsun 240Z. It was a high-quality, affordable sports car with good performance, reasonable fuel economy, exciting styling, and for a two-seater, generous interior room. It was Honda shook the automotive world by its lapels in 1991 with the introduction of the NSX, a 168-mile-per-hour exotic with an all-aluminum unit body and a 270-horsepower mid-mounted V6. Not only was it quick, agile, and forgiving to the inexperienced driver, the NSX established a new level. While it may not be the most powerful exotic, the NSX's trim 3,000-pound curb weight makes the most of the power it has got, with 0 to 60 runs of less than 6 seconds as proof. Forgiving and predictable are words that come to mind, with the driver needing to do something really foolish to get this car to spin. The steering feedback is so immediate and precise, it almost feels as if you're holding a tie rod in each hand. Powerful anti-lock brakes give the NSX the Honda ekes 270 horsepower out of its 4-cam 3-liter V6 using such pricey metals as aluminum and titanium, and its ingenious VTEC system which employs two distinct camshaft lobe profiles to get both a smooth idle and excellent power at high RPM. The result allows this V6 to pull melodiously to 8,000 RPM, making smooth power without the vibration and commotion you'd associate with some cars in its class. With the exception of a steel crossbeam that supports the steering column, the NSX's structure is composed entirely of Honda ekes 270 horsepower out of its 4-cam 3-liter V6. Honda, already famous as the world's biggest and most successful motorcycle manufacturer, displayed its first road car at the 1962 Tokyo Auto Show, a small road. While it may not be the most powerful, While it may not be the most powerful exotic, the NSX's trim From its enormous front air intakes to the clusters of tiny taillights under a towering F40 style wing, Toyota Supra is a powerful styling statement. It also has muscle beneath its hood to match those looks. A 3-liter twin-turbo inline-6 engine makes 320 horsepower, which ties it with the... From its enormous front air intakes to the clusters of tiny taillights under a towering F40 style wing, Toyota Supra is a powerful styling statement. It also has muscle beneath its hood to match those looks. A 3-liter... Defeat the standard traction control, and the Supra will take you to 60 miles per hour in a torrid 5 seconds flat, helped by a slick shifting 6-speed with throws as short as a Formula Ford's. Tremendous grip and extremely predictable handling manners make it easy to extract the most from this chassis, putting it near the top of the group for overall handling and control. But be careful when exiting tight corners. Like all the Supras before it, this version uses an inline-6 with a cast iron block and aluminum head. But twin camshafts, sequential twin turbos, and a jumbo-sized intercooler help bolster output to 320 horsepower. Despite weight-saving efforts such as hollow fiber carpeting, dished head bolts, and a glass sphere-filled rear wing, the Supra's no bantam weight. Our scales show a healthy 3,450 pounds. The origin of the Supra dates back to 1971, when Toyota introduced the Celica as an economical 4-cylinder sports coupe. It was 8 years later that Toyota decided to create a new, more powerful version of the Celica, outfitted with a 2.6-liter inline-6 power plant derived from the Cressida's engine. The new model, called the Supra, enabled Toyota Few designs have been as long-lived as the Porsche 911, or as successfully updated. Its instantly recognizable silhouette has been around for more than 30 years, but with each revision, this rear-engine, air-cooled, flat-6-powered sports car from Zuffenhausen has been made to corner more aggressively, accelerate harder, stop shorter, and through detail refinement, look better. To many of its followers, the 911 is considered to be the only real Porsche. With 59% of its 3,065 pounds borne by the rear wheels, the 911's tail can still be made to step out by lifting off the throttle or braking under considerable side loading. However, this tendency is much more benign with its improved rear suspension. Where this rear weight bias helps out tremendously is in the 911's fantastically powerful braking. The 911's air-cooled flat-6 engine has always been its most intriguing feature, with its belt-driven cooling fan and a crankcase to which bolts 6 individual cylinders and heads. To make the best use of its 270 horsepower, The engine is mated to a 6-speed transaxle, a Porsche production first. Also of note is the new aluminum multi-link rear suspension that replaces the less forgiving semi-trailing arms that the car has had since its inception. As Ferdinand Porsche was commissioned to design the Volkswagen Beetle well before World War II, it's not surprising that the original Porsche 911 showed aspects of its design, from its rear-mounted air-cooled engine to its torsion bar springs. Making its production debut in 1964, the 911 had a 2-liter flat-six power plant that was long heralded as America's sports car, the ZR1 is the most powerful production Corvette ever made, foregoing the standard pushrod V8 for one with 4 cams, 32 valves, and 405 horsepower. The ZR1's LT5 engine is a multinational effort, with engineering assistance supplied by England's Lotus and assembly carried out by Mercury Marine in Stillwater, Oklahoma. Final assembly of the entire car is performed where Corvettes have long been built, in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Carrying 200 pounds more than a standard Corvette and wearing wider tires, the ZR1 is a little less nimble, but more than makes up for this in sheer power and speed. The ZR1 attained an honest 178 miles per hour in our latest road and track top speed test, which places it a solid third. The Corvette's structure is unusual, with fiberglass panels that are bonded to a skeletal steel frame. This structure exhibits some flex, which takes away from the feel of precision, but tires, brakes, and suspension geometry are all so good that this is more of a subjective demerit than anything else. The ZR1's 6-speed transmission has an extremely tall top gear for relaxed cruising, and cockpit adjustable suspension damping makes those longer journeys more comfortable. Chevrolet introduced the Corvette in 1953 as the all-American answer to the very popular British roadsters of that era. Named after a sleek and fast Canadian submarine chaser of World War II, the first Corvette was fitted with a fiberglass body and the Blue Flame pushrod inline-6 engine. Although the fiberglass body and whisked from car show sweetheart to production vehicle in just 3 years, the Viper has put Chrysler back on the supercar map in bold block lettering. The approach is brute force rather than finesse, as the Viper is really a car built around its engine, a thundering 400 horsepower 8-liter pushrod V10. Pampering its driver is not part of the equation. The Viper has side curtains instead of roll-up windows, a roof. With its short wheelbase and an impressive 450 pound-feet of torque, The Viper can feel twitchy when exiting low-speed corners if you're not smooth on the throttle, but its handling in general is fantastic and has the most direct race car-like feel of the bunch, with 0.96 G of lateral grip, just a touch of understeer. By far the largest production car engine sold in the US today, the Viper's 8-liter all-aluminum V10 shares the architecture of Chrysler's small block 360 cubic inch V8, but with 2 more cylinders grafted on. Its exhaust exits through side pipes incorporated into the rocker panels. The Viper's construction follows race car practice, with a square-section tubular steel frame, tubular double wishbone suspension with coil-over shocks and plastic bodywork. Although claimed by some to be Chrysler's first true two-seat sports car, the Viper is based on the history of sports car designs dating back over 40 years. The first of these was the 1952 Chrysler Hemi-powered Cunningham C2R sports racer, which despite its limited production run, has been cited as the grandfather of the Viper. Perhaps the greatest inspiration came from the legendary Shelby Cobra of the 60s. By far the largest production, with its short wheelbase and an Italian style, beauty, speed, comfort, exclusivity. The Ferrari 512 TR has it in droves. Able to play the roles of high-speed Grand Tourer or sports car equally well, this Ferrari is not at all nervous or high-strung. Its 421 horsepower flat 12 is the epitome of tractability. And one look at those huge body-side ducts lined with the strakes that have graced the Testarossa. Despite being 55 pounds heavier than its predecessor, the 512 TR's additional 41 horsepower get it to 60 miles per hour, a whopping 1.5 seconds quicker. The difference through the standing quarter mile is even more impressive, 12.9 seconds versus 14.5, earning it top spot among this bunch of sports cars. Besides making some of the most glorious mechanical noises on Earth, the 512 TR's all-aluminum flat 12 is a thing of beauty, with intake castings that could be displayed at the Louvre. Compared with the Testarossa it replaces, the 512 TR has 10% more power, larger 18-inch wheels and tires, a stiffer tubular frame, more precise steering, an improved braking system, and a redesigned interior. Arguably the most victorious and longest-lasting competitor in automobile racing history, the Ferrari marque owes its success to Enzo Ferrari, the Modenese-born son of a metal shop worker. Along with a small group of close colleagues and talented engineers, Enzo produced a direct descendant of the sharp-edged Countach that practically coined the term exotic. The Lamborghini Diablo retains the mid-mounted 4-cam V12, swing-up doors, and all the excitement of the original in a more rounded, smoothed-over form. Look closely and you'll see slightly larger engine air intakes and brake ducts that are the distinguishing marks of the VT, the all-wheel drive version of the Diablo. Never before has a Lamborghini put its power to the ground so efficiently. With its all-wheel drive system configured to drive the front wheels only when the rears start spinning, the Diablo VT retains its rear drive character, but with an extra margin of stability. Although aggressive use of throttle can still bring the tail out, power oversteer is much milder than the standard Diablo, and power can be put down sooner. With the capability of accelerating to 60 miles per hour, all-wheel drive that incorporates a mid-mounted viscous coupling helps put the VT's monstrous 492 horsepower to the ground. Chassis construction is similar to the Ferraris with a tubular space frame, but aluminum alloy body panels are augmented by a steel roof and strategically placed panels of carbon fiber. Unlike the high-pitched scream of the 512 TR's engine, the Diablo's all-alloy 48-valve V12 resonates with a deep brassiness. Think of a dozen trombones. The roots of the Lamborghini Diablo go back to a small factory in Cento, Italy, where a mechanic turned industrialist started his career building tractors under the Lamborghini family name. Ferruccio Lamborghini's passion for exotic cars eventually changed the focus of his mechanical and entrepreneurial energies. And in 1964, the first Lamborghini production car was brought to market. Called the 3... From the tranquility of suburbia to the pandemonium of the urban jungle, this route opens up with gentle freeway and winds its way into the bowels of the city's underground. Roads snaking everywhere, underpasses, overpasses, concrete barriers, long winding tunnels. It's all here for you. But watch out for other cars. They come up real quick when you're at speeds these cars want to travel. Ah, the smell of the ocean. This route starts a meandering run along the coast, winds its way up and along some crags, inland through some tight forested road, and then back down along a narrow peninsula. It's a well-rounded drive with a couple of nice straightaways and a healthy portion of squirrely corners. Go ahead, use that lead foot, but keep a tight grip on the wheel. Strap on your lederhosen for this one. It's a trek through Alpine country. Starting with an ascent on some wide forested road, you'll soon find the air thinning and the road narrowing. Expect a lot of cliffs, tunnels, and tight road. Passing gets tough on winding single-lane roads, so you'll need to get creative if you want to clock some quick times here. The desert heat has taken its toll on this old decrepit raceway. Loose gravel at the sides of the track can send the tail end out of control. If you want quick laps and fast speeds, this is where you'll get. This closed circuit speedway is a little bit different from the open road courses in that you'll get a chance to learn every inch of track intimately as you... Back during the gold rush, this used to be a thriving mining region. But with the gold gone, all that remains are a decaying ghost town, dilapidated mines... The beautiful scenery on this course can be distracting and disastrous if you take your eyes off the road too long to savor the sights. Urban sprawl and overcrowding can often make for slow, monotonous traffic. But take away the traffic and you've got a high-speed obstacle course that's enough to challenge even the best. Bonus track? No one told me about this one. I think you're on your own. From the tranquility of suburbia to the bonus track? No one told me about this one. I think you're on your own. Congratulations! You have won the race!